Hello friends, looking at current affairs for 4th June, Sunday. The news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 15. We'll look at them in detail. Sorry for the delay. The first news item is new GST rates of 3% for gold diamond. So we have already discussed that GST Council meet was scheduled and this meeting did take place and the GST rates of all those remaining commodities was finalized. So specifically gold, silver and diamond GST rates have been finalized and it has been put in the category, a new category of 3%. So if you can recollect GST rates which had been finalized, the 4 tax slabs which were there, they were 1, 5%, 12%, 18% and 28%. But these were not the sole categories. Of course, there are commodities which are not taxed. These are called zero rated commodities. So like essential agricultural commodities, cereals are not taxed. So this is also another category, a fifth one. And not just that, but also in the 28% category, there are few items, the luxurious items, sin goods as they are called, they have been imposed cess as well. So apart from the 28% GST rate, there is a cess imposed on such commodities. And these cess rates are also different for different commodities. So there is no counting which you can do that there are 4 taxation rates or 5 or so on. And now presently the latest news is that another category has been set up, that is 3% category for gold, silver and diamond. For rough diamonds, uncut diamonds, a nominal GST rate of 0.25% has been finalized. So this is there. Other commodities like biscuits also, you can see the taxation rate has been placed. It has been placed in the 18% GST rate category. Then the next news item is Gujarat notifies new cow protection rules. So this is regarding Gujarat Animal Preservation Amendment Act 2017. So now new rules under this act have been notified by the Gujarat government, increasing the punishment for slaughtering of cow and also for illegal transportation of cow. So for slaughtering it is life imprisonment and 5 lakh fine, and illegal transportation it is 7 to 10 years jail and 1 to 5 lakh fine. Then the next news item is Indian origin gay minister Leo Varadkar set to become Ireland's youngest PM. So he is an Indian origin doctor. He is Ireland's first openly gay minister and he has won the leadership race for the ruling party, and so he would become the Prime Minister of Ireland. So he will be the youngest ever and first homosexual Prime Minister as such. So he will officially take over as the Taoiseach. So this is the title which is used for the Prime Minister of Ireland. So Leo Varadkar will be formally inducted as he has been voted as the leader of the ruling party. So this post will be confirmed formally by the Parliament of Ireland by June 30. Then the next news item is Draft Social Security Code raises doubts about efficacy. So this Draft Social Security Code has been doing the rounds for public comments for long now. So this has been criticized by labor law activists because it has cast doubts about the rights which will be provided to unorganized sector workers. So what the Draft Social Security Code is trying to do is consolidating all the 44 labor laws which are there in place, and what it had promised to provide was social security for all workers, including workers in the unorganized sector, including domestic helps. But now there is no clarity about how this would go on, because when unorganized sectors workers would also be included, then they would be making monetary contribution to claim the benefits. So their social security benefits which they would gain out of the whole system is being questioned, because again what contribution they would be making would be used for investments. So that is there. Plus the other thing is regarding the registration fee provision which has been inserted in this draft security code. So this is also being questioned. Also, it is being stated by some activists that some states have very strong social security laws for their workers. So if the central government's draft social security code comes forth, then it would result in these states going backwards. So this is also a concern raised. Then next is EVM gets vote of confidence. So we had seen the EVM challenge was put forth by the Election Commission of India. So in this EVM challenge, the CPI Marxist finally decided that it is only going to understand the functioning of the EVM. It is not going to take up the challenge and try to tamper with it. NCP, Nationalist Congress Party, it opted out of this challenge on the grounds that Election Commission did not provide them with the memory and battery numbers of the machines even 4 days in advance. The Election Commission Election Commissioner, Chief Election Commissioner on his part has stated that this was not possible because the EVMs were kept sealed in warehouses. They cannot be opened up and these numbers could not be given in advance. So this is what has happened with the EVM challenge. So it has gone unchallenged as such, and it's indirectly a vote of confidence in the electronic voting machines. Then next is India, France to join hands on Paris Pact. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi was on a 4-nation tour in Europe. So his last nation which he visited after Germany, Spain and Russia was France. So in France, the two leaders also spoke about consolidating the implementation of Paris Climate Agreement, especially after US President Donald Trump opted out of it. So this commitment has also been endorsed by both the leaders. India has also stated that it would try to go beyond the commitments which it has provided under the NDCs in Paris Climate Accord. Also, another point which was noted was regarding defense cooperation, maritime security, also fighting terrorism came on agenda. The two nations would work together on that as well, and also terrorism on the internet. Then next is the lowdown on Zika virus. So this Zika virus is a viral infection which occurs through the bites of mosquitoes, the Aedes mosquitoes, especially the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which is prevalent widely in various tropical countries, including India. It is also responsible for transmitting other diseases like dengue and chikungunya. So this Zika virus was first isolated from a rhesus monkey in Uganda. And this in Ugandan forest's name was Zika virus. So that is how the name comes as Zika virus. So this was in 1947. So since then, this mosquito-borne virus spread in many Asian and African countries, but it did not cause any harm. So it was not a cause of concern. But now later in 2007, there were hundreds of cases of this Zika virus reported in a southwestern Pacific island nation. So after that too, there were no such instances. After 6 years, Zika virus came to French Polynesia, where nearly 30,000 people required medical assistance because of Zika virus infection. And post that, we saw in that group also 40 contracted Guillain-Barré syndrome. So this Guillain-Barré syndrome is a condition in which the immune system attacks the nervous system, sometimes resulting in paralysis. So this here it is shown, it's an inflammatory disorder of the peripheral nerves. So peripheral nerves convey sensory information from the body to the brain. So this is the nerves which are affected. So it results in weakness, numbness, even as it said, paralysis may take place. So this is the condition which had come up in this group of people who were affected in French Polynesia. After that, in 2015, and we saw this Zika virus spreading in northeast Brazil. And within months after the outbreak, Zika virus was linked to possible birth defects in babies born. So this is called microcephaly. So this is the condition in which the brain size of the baby is smaller. So they have tiny heads. So here you can see this is the normal head size, and this is the head size of children affected by this condition called microcephaly, and this was linked to Zika virus. So pregnant women who are affected by Zika virus had given birth to such babies. Microcephaly condition was detected, and now there is conditions. These children, as they are growing, there has been seen that there are many other conditions through which they are suffering. So it's whole spectrum of diseases under Zika virus as such which are coming forth. So this is the condition presently. World Health Organization had declared Zika as a public health emergency of international concern on 1st Feb 2016, more than a year ago. Also later it was found that Zika virus gets transmitted easily through sexual means. So this is why it was said that it is also a relatively common way of transmission of Zika virus. So it was also recommended by World Health Organization that couples abstain from sex for at least 6 months after a man has been diagnosed with Zika virus. So Zika emergency was declared, and then it ended in mid-November 2016. Also since then, such these instances were found in various Asian countries too. Few states in USA reported Zika virus infection. Singapore, even Philippines, Malaysia, Thailand, Myanmar, there were Zika virus cases reported, but none from India, though there had been 3 such cases in Gujarat in Jan 2017. and later it was only in May 2017, on 26 May 2017 specifically, when WHO published these details. World Health Organization published this on its website, that it was known that India also had 3 Zika virus cases. There is no vaccine as such presently for Zika virus, but there are many vaccines which have been developed, and many of them are also entered human clinical trial phase. Even one is an Indian vaccine, a vaccine made by Indian company, pharmaceutical company. This is Hyderabad-based Bharat Biotech. So its Zika virus vaccine is found to have conferred 100% protection in mice, and now it is undergoing human clinical trials. So this is Zika virus, the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which transmits it generally. So it also transmits dengue, chikungunya, also yellow fever. And sexual transmission is also common and possible, is what we saw. It has also been proved. This is the microcephaly condition because of Zika virus, and this is the Guillain-Barré syndrome. So this is generally seen in adults, Guillain-Barré syndrome. Then the next news item is when a peasant revolts. So this is in context of farmers' protests in Maharashtra presently. So such protests have taken place earlier too, and there is a history given of how Chaudhry Charan Singh in 1978 had a Kisan rally conducted, which is till date the largest gathering witnessed in Delhi's Boat Club House as such. So this also gave him the power which propelled him to become the Prime Minister of the country too, for a brief period of time. Chaudhry Charan Singh is also prominently known as the only Prime Minister who did not face the parliament. So his tenure was limited, but this did happen. Then also another example is of Mahendra Singh Tiket. He had also gathered around 500,000 farmers in the lawns of Rajpath and had brought Rajiv Gandhi government to accept their demands. So such demands of farmers for even higher price for sugarcane and waiving of electricity dues was accepted then. And now also we have seen recently about the Jats in Haryana who are demanding reservations for themselves under the special backward class category. So this also had been strongly demonstrated by them coming out on the streets. So farmers' strength, and when farmers come to protest, is being highlighted as such through this previous cases. And the present case of farmers' protest strike in Maharashtra is demanding that the loans to small and marginal farmers should be waived. So this has been means there are 80% of the farmers in Maharashtra are small and marginal farmers. So this loan waiver has been demanded. Also interest and penalty on pending power bills has to be waived. This also has been accepted. These two demands have been accepted by the Devendra Fadnavis government in Maharashtra. Also, other two prominent demands which have been given in as one is regarding increasing the procurement price for milk, and with respect to MSP, minimum support price, which is decided by the government on various agricultural commodities. The demand which has been made and has been accepted is that there should be a legislation, a law brought in which would make buying agricultural products at prices below MSP a criminal offense. So this has also been accepted. So what is the reason for this agrarian distress in the country is being questioned here. So here first and foremost thing which is put up is regarding the distorted subsidy regime. So the article is arguing that subsidies which are provided in the country are for cereals, means rice, wheat, etc. So for them the procurement price is high, so that's why the area under the production is also high. But if you look at the data, then the food choices of people are changing and cereals consumption is gradually reducing. Though even when it's a bad monsoon year, the cereals production has progressively risen over the years when the demand has gone down. So that results in the gap, which results in prices coming down. So that is why the subsidy regime has to be corrected is one point. And even because of this, what we see when high MSP is there for various products, like various commodities like sugarcane, for example. So these are very highly water consuming agricultural produce, and then they are the ones which are sown in regions which are not climatically suitable for them. So sugarcane and cotton, because of the government support to them, they are seen to be grown in areas not suitable for them. So this is also a distortion highlighted. Also, it is said that when people are forced to sell their produce below MSP, so this is also because the government also fails to procure. because procurement has also to be done, means buying of these commodities has to be done by the government as well. But government fails to procure these commodities because of huge accumulated stock which they already have of food grains, etc. So this is regarding the distorted subsidy regime which needs to be corrected. Also, another demand which has been made is loan waiver. So on loan waiver too, a precedent has been set by UP newly elected Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. So that is what has set the ball rolling, and now in Maharashtra too such a demand has been made, to which a partial fulfillment has already been, an assurance has already been given that small and marginal farmers loans would be waived off. So this is not a healthy precedent, is also been highlighted as such. So structural changes are required so that such situations do not arise, rather than just having these minor changes being done here and there, because this is not going to solve the problem. Loan waivers is not the solution. So that is the point. Then next is cryptocurrency, an idea whose time has come. So what is this cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is a currency which is generated through cryptograph. So here algorithms are used, programs are used in the computers through which these currencies are generated and transactions are done. So this cryptocurrency, the most prominent one of them is Bitcoins. So in India too, a committee has been set up to study regarding Bitcoins. In various countries, Bitcoins have been regulated. Though Indian government has been averse to giving any legality to Bitcoins, RBI has been again and again issuing warnings regarding the adverse consequences of using Bitcoins. So what are these Bitcoins and why have they erupted? One is of course because of the computational power. So this allows algorithms to programmatically issue currencies. So this capability is there with computers. Second point is distrust towards governments, because governments can anytime devalue the currency, they can demonetize the currency. So this seems to be a safer option. And also the safe assets in which you can store your wealth is scarce now. So this is another avenue which is being exploited. So first cryptocurrency which was born was in 2008. This was called Bitcoin, and it's the most famous of all cryptocurrencies, and its inventor is still unidentified. His name which is known is Satoshi Nakamoto. So this is the person who created Bitcoins, but then he does not regulate them. Bitcoins is regulated through peers. So it's a peer system which works, through which these cryptocurrencies are generated and regulated. So it is done through this software called blockchain. So this blockchain continues, and in this a new block has to be added, and the one who is able to add that block through cryptography is called the miner. So he is the one who mines and gets a new currency. So one new number which has been mined results in Bitcoin network allocating 12.5 Bitcoins to the miner. So that's around $30,000. So that is how new Bitcoins are also generated. Regarding regulation of Bitcoins, what has been done is in America since 2014, Bitcoins are treated as property. So they are subject to appropriate capital gains tax rates. In Japan, from 1st April 2017, Bitcoins have become a legitimate source of payment method. So same thing will follow in Australia too. So this legitimization has been provided to Bitcoins by these countries. Also in China, steps have been taken to regularize them. In India, as we saw in April 2017, an interdisciplinary committee was set up to study the regulatory framework for cryptocurrencies. So a suggestion which has been provided in this article is either the government can help structure the growth of cryptocurrencies or drive the whole enterprise underground beyond its control. So this is what can be lesson learned from other countries too about how regulation of Bitcoins can be undertaken, because they may be used for other covert practices which may not be regulated. So if they are brought under regulation, it would be much more beneficial. Then this is regarding cryptocurrencies. So the digital currency which is used and generated through cryptography, an exchange possible through cryptography. Then invention, it is not known. The name is Satoshi Nakamoto, who is said to have invented in 2008 Bitcoins, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. So it's an open source code since 2009. Then this is how Bitcoins work. So the mining which is done. So wherever it's Bitcoin's value depends on its acceptability. So if a large number of people accept it, then Bitcoin value increases. So how much is one Bitcoin worth is understood through these means. And is it, as it is a new avenue and people are interested because in gaining access to these currencies, cryptocurrencies, that is why their demand increases, and as demand increases, of course, the value of the product increases. So that is how Bitcoins also function. Then next is wrapped in a haze of smoke. So this is regarding smoking hookah or shisha. So here World Health Organization in 2005 has also given a warning that 1 hour session of hookah is as harmful as smoking 100 cigarettes. So this is the warning given. Also there are these hookahs which are calling themselves tobacco-less or herbal hookahs, but still when the smoke goes in, so there is smoke filled with carbon monoxide and other harmful carcinogens. So even if it is tobacco free, all these carcinogens will go down deep into your lungs and will not be good for the health. So they are still toxic for the health. So hookahs, whether they are tobacco-less, smokeless, herbal, should all be regulated is what is being stated here. But in India, the law which is there for cigarette and tobacco products regulation is CUTPA. So this is Cigarette and Other Tobacco Products Act. And these hookahs, which call themselves tobacco-less or herbal hookahs, they have come out of the purview of CUTPA because of this loophole. So this 3-year ban on hookah smoking, which was put as such since December 2014, was lifted by the Supreme Court recently. So this is the point on the basis of which this article is brought in, and there is a need for regulating hookahs is being put forth. Next is Lieutenant Colonel arrested as CBI busts army posting racket. So this was an army posting racket taking place where money was paid to have a posting of your choice. So this was what has been unearthed now, and CBI has busted this entire racket. The person who has been arrested is Lieutenant Colonel Ranganathan Suvramani Moni. So, and his close associate Gaurav Kohli, this middleman, has also been arrested. So they were giving postings in military engineering services. So he himself worked in the personnel branch of military engineering services, and these civilian postings were much sought after because they were dealing with lucrative engineering contracts. So that is why there was bribe being paid to get these posts. So this whole racket has been unearthed now. Next is 12 years on, fighter pilot pins hope on Supreme Court for relief. So this is Sanjeet Singh Kela. So he was a fighter pilot with Indian Air Force, and he was having this test run done on MiG fighter. So his MiG fighter, it caught fire and he sustained injuries which left him in severe pain and permanently unfit for flying helicopters or fighters. So presently he is the commanding officer of NCC, National Cadet Corps, and he has filed a case against the central government and the aircraft manufacturer, MiG manufacturer, the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. And he says that this is violation of his right to life and his right to work in a safe environment under Article 21 of the Constitution. So his fundamental right has been violated. He has claimed in the Delhi High Court that the accident was caused due to poor workmanship on the part of the Hall. So he has used right to information and has painstakingly got information regarding Indian Air Force's internal probe in the crash. And the results have shown that it was fatigue crack which turned fatal to the aircraft, and that was because of poor workmanship of the hull. So now the Delhi High Court had given its ruling in which it asked the central government to compensate Mr. Kaila rupees 5 lakh. The compensation should be paid because he underwent trauma, and also the relevant information was not disclosed to him. So he had to struggle to get access to this information too, and to HAL too, it has been held liable for the accident, and 50 lakh has to be paid by HAL to Mr. Kela. So this was a Delhi High Court order, but Supreme Court has stayed this order as such. So the vacation bench of the Supreme Court stayed this High Court order, and now the Supreme Court is going to look into the matter, and Mr. Kela is ready to fight it up there too. Then next is Facebook seeks Indian payment system patent. So this is regarding Facebook and its messenger service WhatsApp, which has been acquired by it. So what we are looking forward to is a electronic payment system enabled through messaging. So this payment system will be patented. So this is end-to-end encrypted message technology, which is being used as such by WhatsApp. So this is going to be used for digital payments, and they are seeking patent for it. Even a similar patent has been applied to in USA as well, which is still awaiting approval, and same has been done in India too now. So this is the digital payment industry getting a boost by WhatsApp and entering into this domain. So this is the news. Then next is fishermen try new nets for healthier oceans. So UN Development Program has been trying to convince fishermen all across and also along India's west coast that they should use square nets rather than diamond shaped nets. So these diamond mesh nets they trap baby fish also, and the square shaped mesh will allow the small fish to escape, and that helps in maintaining the breeding population. So if the fish is very small, it will escape. If it is big enough, it will come as a catch. So that is why this endorsement to using square mesh nets was emphasized on, and fishermen have insisted that this has made a difference, because if you keep catching the small fish too, then there will be no breeding taking place, and then you will not get a better catch. So it is detrimental to the fishermen also, and also to the environment and maintaining biodiversity and health of the oceans. So that is why these square mesh nets have been endorsed by a UN Development Program too. They have been adopted and results are visible. So this is it. And the last news item is heritage on the fringe. So this is regarding the Hall of Nations and the Hall of Industries in New Delhi. These are two iconic structures which have been demolished along with Nehru Pavilion. So Nehru Pavilion is the place where the life and times of Jawaharlal Nehru are exhibited. So all this has been demolished by Indian Trade Promotion Organization, which is supported by Ministry of Commerce. So they will be replaced by world-class integrated exhibition convention center at Pragati Maidan. So this demolition was met with strong opposition. The reason being that this Hall of Nations and Hall of Industries is considered as modern architectural heritage of the country, but the Heritage Conservation Committee of the central government refused to classify it as so. It was not considered as a heritage because it did not fulfill the criteria that it is of 60 years old. It was not a 60-year-old building, so it could not become under the category of heritage. So this question was raised by architects all across, that what is the definition for modern architectural heritage? How will it be conserved? So also suggestion has been given of 6 criteria which should identify an architecture as modern architectural heritage. So it should be of exceptional architectural significance. It should be a representative of a work of a master architect. It should have some significance like building topology or ensemble structure, or even it may be a religious building. Also it may be a building which is associated with the life and times of a great person as such of significance. So these can be the conditions, criteria on the basis of which a modern architecture can also be considered as a heritage, architectural heritage. So this is what is being demanded. This Hall of Nations. This Hall of Nations was also established to commemorate the 25th Independence Day of the country. So a competition was held in which the best design was chosen, and this was the design by the architect Raj Reval. So he had made this design comprising of these space frames, you can see. So they would act as sun breakers from all sides. So this design won the competition, and he had undertaken this construction too, and at that time steel tubes were required for constructing these frames. But then steel was a scarcity in the country, because at that time India was not self-sufficient in these commodities. So rather than using steel, a bold decision was made to use RC, reinforced concrete as such, and it was constructed. So this was the architectural feat accomplished then, and this is called a modern architecture representing the country, the nation's will and power as such. And also it was constructed at the time of 25th independence. So this has not been saved, it has been demolished now. So this is a point on modern architecture which will come under culture in UPSC. So these are the news items. Thank you.